Most originators believe that their income is capped by forces outside of their control. So not true, by the way. They're like rates and inventory, the economy, underwriting, their company, their comp plan, their market. And because those forces feel external, they feel permanent. They feel immovable. They feel like something that just happens to them rather than something they can respond to intentionally. That belief is the single biggest reason most originators never scale. They spend years waiting for the market to change instead of changing how they operate inside the market. They wait for rates to come down. They wait for inventory to loosen up. They wait for refis to come back. They wait for the next boom cycle. They wait for permission. But scaling doesn't wait. Scaling does not show up when the market gets easier. Scaling shows up when structure replaces hope, when discipline replaces emotion, and when decisions replace excuses. Today, we are going to walk through exactly what it takes to scale a loan origination business with intentionality. This is not hype. This is not motivation. It sure as heck isn't theory. Real operational truth, y'all. That's what we're bringing. This is the kind of truth that is boring, sure, when you first hear it, uncomfortable when you first try to apply it, but it is life-changing if you'll actually stick with it. This is not about closing one more loan this month. This is not about surviving the next quarter. This is about building a business that works when the market doesn't cooperate. I'm Dustin Owen, and this is the DO Show. They don't teach this shit in school, but they should. I'm Dustin Owen, and for the past 20 years, the mortgage industry has been my classroom. I've helped over 2,000 families become homeowners, built $1 billion mortgage operation from scratch, and earned my way into the top 1% of income earners worldwide. Along the way, I became a real estate investor, a business owner, and have invested in over 20 tech startups, even hitting a 20x return on one of my investments. This isn't theory, it's experience. Welcome to the DO Show, where I teach the lessons life taught me the hard way. Most originators never scale because they never stop thinking like originators. They think in files, they think in closings, they think in commissions, they think in conditions like STIPs. They think in weeks and they think in months. They're typically playing a game of chess, not a game of checkers. And there's nothing wrong with that when you are learning. There's nothing wrong with that when you are building confidence. There's nothing wrong with that when your only responsibility is your own production. But that mindset becomes a ceiling the moment you want more than personal output. Businesses are not built on files. Businesses are built on systems. When you think transaction to transaction, everything feels urgent. Every deal feels like it matters more than the structure behind it. Every fire feels justified. Every exception feels necessary. And slowly, without realizing it, you train your business to need you for everything. This is not scale. That right there, y'all, that's called dependency. Dependency looks productive until it collapses. Scaling requires fundamental shift from production thinking to operational thinking. And most people never make that shift because production feels safe. It feels familiar. It feels controllable. You know how to grind? Sure. You know how to hustle? Okay. You know how to save a deal at the 11th hour. Operating feels different. Operating feels slower. Operating feels less emotional. Operating feels like delayed gratification. And that makes people uncomfortable, so they avoid it. Here is the clean distinction that changes everything. A producer asks questions like, how do I close more loans? An operator asks, how does this business function without me doing everything? A producer celebrates big months. An operator cares about consistent averages. A producer reacts to the pipeline. An operator designs the pipeline. If your business only works when you are working harder, you do not have a scalable model. You have a dependency problem. And dependency is the enemy of scale. This is where most originators get trapped. They mistake effort for leverage. They mistake activity for progress. They mistake motion for momentum. One of the biggest lies in the industry is this idea that more leads will fix everything. And don't get me wrong, more leads is a great start. If I just had more leads, you might say, or if I just had better leads, I could do this. If I just spent more on marketing, I could break through. More leads without structure do not create growth. They create chaos. More conversations, they create more follow-ups, more pipeline clutter, more stress. It ends up being more leads with the same inefficiencies. If your conversion rates are unclear, more leads magnify the problem. If your process is broken, more volume breaks it faster. If your calendar is already full, more leads burn you out. Scaling does not start with acquisition, it starts with optimization. Before you ever turn the volume up, you must stabilize the machine. And most originators never do that because it does not feel productive in the moment. The foundation of scale is clarity. Clarity is boring. Clarity is not sexy. Clarity does not get applause. But clarity is everything. You must be clear on where your deals actually come from. Not where you think they come from, not where you hope they come from, where they actually originate. You must be clear on which relationships convert and which ones drain time. Which products actually make you money, which ones keep you busy, which activities directly lead to revenue, and which ones simply make you feel involved. Most originators are busy all day but cannot clearly articulate why their business performs the way it does. This is not a marketing issue. This is, it's a leadership issue. If you do not understand your business, you cannot scale it. Scaling begins with how you use your time. Not how much time you work, but how intentionally you work. Your calendar tells the truth, always. If your calendar is full of reaction, your business will always react. If your calendar is full of intention, your business starts to compound. Daily discipline is not about working more hours. It is about protecting the hours that matter. Prospecting time must be protected. Follow-up must be structured. Administrative work must be contained. Interruptions must be limited. Meetings must be intentional. If everything is urgent, nothing is important. Most originators start their day in reaction mode. Email, text, Slack messages, fire drills. And by the time they get to revenue-producing activity, they're tired, they're distracted, and emotionally drained. This is not a time problem. This is a discipline problem. Processes must always come before people. Most originators hire emotionally. They hire because they're overwhelmed. They hire because they are tired. They hire because they want relief. Believe it or not, that's actually backwards. You hire to scale a process, not to replace your effort. Before you add a single person, you should already know exactly what happens before a file is taken, what happens after it is taken, where decisions are made, where mistakes typically happen, and where time is wasted. If you cannot map it out, you cannot delegate it. Hiring without process does not free you. It adds management. It adds oversight. Heck, it even adds confusion. And then people blame the hire when the real issue was the lack of structure. Every role must exist for a reason. Not help, not support, not, whatever needs to get done. A real role has a defined function, a measurable outcome, and a clear lane of responsibility. If two people own the same task, no one owns it. If no one owns the result, it drifts. Drift kills scale. Clarity creates confidence. Confidence creates speed. Speed creates scale. You see where I'm going here? Here is a hard question that exposes everything. If you were only allowed to do 3 things each day, what would they be? Those are your revenue activities. Everything else should either support those activities or be removed from your plate. Most originators reverse this. They do everything else first, then squeeze in revenue work when they are exhausted. That guarantees stagnation. Documentation is not optional if you want scale. If it is not documented, it does not exist. If it lives in your head, it dies with your availability. Documentation removes emotion from execution. It creates consistency. It creates confidence for your team. It creates freedom for you. Your goal should be that someone competent can step into your business and understand how it operates without needing you to explain everything. That does not happen accidentally, by the way. It happens with intentionality. Metrics matter more than mood. Feelings do not scale. Data does. You should know your numbers without guessing. Everything from cost per lead, cost per funded loan, conversion rates at every stage, whether that's a new lead or that's credit pulled or it's loan locked, revenue per partner, revenue per employee, metrics remove drama. They create objectivity. They show you exactly where to focus. When something feels off, the numbers will tell you why. Scaling requires delayed gratification, reinvesting instead of extracting, building instead of consuming, stabilizing instead of splurging. Most people want scale without patience. That never works. Burnout is not a badge of honor. It is a warning sign. If your business only works when you are exhausted, it is fragile. Structure protects energy. Energy protects judgment. Judgment protects growth. At some point, you must decide who you are becoming. A top producer forever or a business owner who understands organization. That decision dictates every move you make. Markets will change, y'all. Rates will move. Competition will come and go. But disciplined operators win in every environment. If this episode hit home, here's the truth. Knowing this stuff is not the same as executing it. I know from firsthand experience. Most loan originators already know what they should be doing. What they lack is structure, accountability, and a system that forces consistent execution long enough for it to compound. That is exactly why T-Lop built Originator Coaching. This is not a course you watch. This is not motivation you feel for a week. This is structured coaching designed to help loan originators build real businesses, not just close the next loan. If you're serious about scaling your business, and for some of y'all, that means 10xing your production with intentionality, and about operating like an owner instead of reacting like a producer, use this link in the description to learn more about T-Lop's Originator Coaching. And if you are ready to stop guessing, stop spinning your wheels, and start building something that actually scales, take that step now. I'll see you in the next episode of The DO Show. And while you're at it, remember this: sharing is caring. Feel free to share this content with someone that you know would greatly benefit. And at the same time, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, or if you're on Spotify and Apple, give us a 5-star review so more people are notified that this content, well, it doesn't suck.